Hi, welcome to our fifth training session. Yeah, we've been together for 5 weeks and it's been really awesome. If you're just tuning in though, this is our part 5 of our AI workshop series. So today is part 5 and the final part. Of course, we could probably go on and on for many weeks about AI, but after this week, we are heading back into our normal monthly webinar series. If you missed parts 1 through 4, make sure to check them out, probably before tuning into part 5 if you're watching the replay. The replay for today's session will be available on the link that I send in the chat box in just a few seconds. As always, keep this interactive. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat at the end, unmute. Love to keep this interactive. I hope you've learned a lot over the past 5 trainings sessions. I'd love to ask for a quick favor, guys. If you found these sessions valuable, we'd love and be so grateful if you can help us and leave us a 5-star review on Google. Just a quick note about the value you're receiving from these trainings. It really helps us reach more tour operators and support their growth. So I'll send that in the chat as well. So the replay coming, Google review coming, and I'm going to hit on our next webinar in a second. So all right, guys, with that being said, just a heads up, our next webinar, going back to our monthly schedule, is going to be on April 17th at 1 p.m. That's our usual webinar time with Pat of Swan Mountain Outfitters. We're actually going to be diving into transition planning. Pat will cover some key considerations when an owner is exploring options for stepping away from the business. And even if you're not considering that right now, it's a really, really good presentation to join. So I'd love to have you there. And with that, the final time, I'm passing this on to Brandon. Take it away, Brandon.
All right. Thank you, Nikki. We are going to jump into AI-powered ads and campaigns to maximize tour bookings. Really excited about this one. It's some area that I think is sometimes overlooked by tour operators. I think everybody can get their head around everything we've talked about. You know, to this point, we've built this ideal customer profile. We used all of those resources to build that. We talked about copywriting for our website. I think that resonates with everyone, right? We all understand we need to do that. Blog content strategy. We talked about that, and I think a lot of people are doing that. Email marketing, of course, most tour operators are there. But AI-powered ads is something that I think is often overlooked, and it's a major source of conversion. You spend a lot of time to get people to your site, a lot of money to get people to your site, and we do that often in 2 ways. We're talking about Google paid ads or other search engines, where you got paid ads running up in that sponsored section. And the content really matters there. It's not just, come up with a few things and plug it in there and away you go. You can boost conversions by 20 to 30% just by changing your copy. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about how, what happens when people visit the site and leave. How do we get them coming back? That's going to be retargeting ads. We're going to jump into that a little bit. So with that, we'll really hit 3 major things today. So again, how to quickly build more effective remarketing banner ads, how to craft the ideal snippets for Google responsive search ads. Those are the ones that show up at the top there in the paid section for Google, and how to create content for a high converting landing page. Often we forget that step as well. We just utilize one of our pages. And if we've got a very specific ad, as we should, and we don't have a page that really matches that, we're wasting time and money. We're going to have people click on that ad, land somewhere that's kind of close, but not quite, and it doesn't resonate. So we'll talk about all of that, how to use AI to make this, a lot more efficient and a lot more powerful. So before we jump in, I want to just show you a couple of examples. Kind of what we used to do in the past and how we've improved it using the principles we're going to talk about today. So right here are a couple of ads, decent imagery. These are ads that we're running on the, for our remarketing ads in the Google network, and they're okay, right? But they don't really speak to our audiences that we've been talking about over the last 5 weeks. And now that everybody probably recognizes that right away. So let me show you a couple of revisions we've made to other ads, similar ads for different reasons, and I'll show you what we've done, and then we'll talk about how we got there. So here's an example of an ad that is retargeting people who have visited our canyoneering page. And again, how did we come up with this? We'll talk about exactly how we came up with this headline and everything today, but you'll probably notice by now that it's speaking to those values that we worked through in a pyramid of values. And it's pulling some of that in. What's really inside their heads, their minds, their hearts? What do they want out of this experience? And so we're speaking to that. And we're reminding them what they're really going to get out of it. Here's one that's speaking to a particular audience. These are great if you have pages on your site that are specific to audiences. Do you have a family-specific page on your site? Do you have a page that's specific for groups of adults or couples? Do you have a page that's for solo travelers? Each of those you're going to speak to differently. This is not going to resonate with a solo traveler, right? So, don't utilize it there. Like if we can hone in on those little niches of people that are visiting our site based on where they went on the site, then we can improve the conversion tenfold. Here's another example of someone who may have visited a page where we have a specific itinerary. They might have visited our 3-day itinerary page where they're really looking at that like, oh, okay, if you're looking at that, you're probably thinking you might be there for 3 days. So what do? Advertise back to that person, only in Moab for a few days. And this is one that I would want to run maybe with some animation. Maybe I've got a GIF that's actually filtering through a few different activities that they would be considering doing during that time frame and to have some of that motion involved. So we'll talk about that a little bit. All right, so where are we in the customer journey today? We are going to be talking about 3 different places. First, we're going to be looking at the awareness stage. So this is where people are, actively keying in search phrases, questions, things like that into a search engine, and they're finding you, ideally from everything else we talked about, they're finding you organically. That's awesome. But if that's not happening, being able to pair that with or in place of those search results happening near the top, you've also got that opportunity to advertise, right? And it gets expensive, and that's why this is so important. Because if you're just throwing money after that and not taking time to make sure your messaging is resonating with your ideal customer profile, then you're wasting money. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure every dollar counts. So we're going to talk about the awareness phase. Then we're going to talk about nurturing. This is the phase where someone has visited the site, didn't actually book. So we're out there actively trying to get them to come back, right? We're hitting them. We've got emails that are happening we talked about before. We've also got these ads that they're seeing as they browse, various sites across the web. They're going to see these pop up. And then we're also talking about ascend. This is a one that is often overlooked. So what do I mean by that? Somebody is actually converted. They booked something. They're getting excited. You're doing that through some of your automations and things like that, and maybe in your booking platform. And then you have this opportunity to help them actually add to their existing booking before it takes place. So this is an opportunity for upsell. We know when people convert, we can actually track that, and then we can actually remarket to those to make their experience even bigger than what they booked. And that's a pretty exciting opportunity as well. So with that, let's go ahead and jump in. So Nikki's going to send you this document, AI-powered ad copy to maximize tour bookings. You are welcome to go right alongside me as we go through this and build this out. On the other side of my screen, you will see that I have our project that we've been working in all this time. Again, I've got my project files here, same as before. And I'm opened up a new chat, and we're going to start plugging some things in here. So before we jump into our very first prompt, I want to lay a little groundwork here. I'm not going to go through all of this because you've got it in the document. You can read it, but something to be thinking about when you're building these ads. Where are people in their awareness phase? Are they most aware? They know the brand. They've been on the site 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 times. They just haven't booked yet. Are they product aware? They know the thing exists, but they haven't made a decision yet. Are they solution aware? Are they problem aware? Are they totally unaware? that you even exist and that the tour exists. So there are different phases that people may be in. We want to speak differently to each one of those. And then the next one is stages of sophistication. So long time ago, we could probably take our Western River trips and advertise, come raft Grand Canyon or Grand Canyon rafting. And that was enough because it was like a novel concept to go out and do this. Now you've got everyone saying they're the best, they're the most exciting. It doesn't stand out anymore. So how do you introduce what I call your unique mechanism? What is it about your trip? Like we've got an exclusive hot barbecue lunch on our full day raft trip that nobody else has. That's unique to us. In the Grand Canyon, we helicopter people in and jet boat them out, and then have this experience in the middle. That's fairly unique to us and a couple of other companies, but there's a lot that are hiking out and so forth, so we can point that out to those that care. So really thinking about some of those things that will resonate with your ideal customer. And then again, like we talked about in typical Eugene Schwartz style, this desire amplification, you're not creating this, it already exists, but how do you amplify it? People want connection with their kids. How do we show that? In the image, in the words that we're using. We already know they want adventure. They wouldn't be looking for, our type of activity. So how do you show that? They want it to be easy. It's, again, looking through all of those values. And I'm using some of ours that are from our ideal customer profile. Yours might be a little bit different, but you get it. You're taking those desires and building upon them. Okay, so let's jump into this. The first one is an awareness-based prompt. So they know what the tour is. This is someone who has visited your site, they've gone to a certain page, and now I'm going to serve up ads to try to bring them back because they didn't book the first time. So the important part of this is to replace a little chunk of this. I'm going to grab all the way down to strategy. We're going to paste it in here. And I'm going to change this to my our Colorado River full day rafting trip. Okay, so replace it with one of your tour names, and away we go. We're going to do something a little bit different after this brings back results. Okay, so again, it's remembering the instructions I gave it. It's saying here are 3 Eugene Schwartz style banner ad variations. Excellent. Love this. Make this the best day of your trip or the best day of your vacation. I might say last spots for season, raft, swim, feast in the heart of Moab. And you can see what it's looking at. Inspired by, people said, highlight of our Moab trip, lunch was perfect, unforgettable day. That's awesome. It's reading those reviews and pulling some of that out. So I'm now speaking to, what they really care about. I love it. And I think honestly, as an idea generation tool, like, wow, this would be hard to just sit down and come up with some of these things too, if I weren't maybe looking through all the reviews myself. Spots filling fast, don't miss out. Adventure is calling, it's a little generic, I think, overused probably. I wouldn't go there. Okay, so I've got these 3 variations here. I'm going to push the AI a little bit to dig in a little bit deeper. You see these prompts right here. This is a great thing to do whenever you find that you're kind of like, I'm happy with one of those, but not so happy with the other 2. I'm going to push it to dig a little bit deeper. And you can always do this with just about anything, saying, how would you improve this to X, Y, or Z, right? In this case, I'm going to say, how would you improve this to ensure that every phrase resonates with our ideal customer, okay? I'm going to sort of force it to go back and now it's going to look at all of these files. Maybe last time it just looked at reviews. It's going to kind of remind itself what our ideal customer cares about. I love it. Memorable experiences, family bonding, mix of thrill and relaxation, checking off bucket list items, what emotions matter, what barriers are there, top values, excellent. These are all headlines in that ideal customer sheet. Now, I didn't mind this make this the best day of your trip. It's maybe suggesting Moab's #1 family adventure. That's fine. Um, yeah, replacing Adventures Calling with unplug, paddle, play. I like that better. Okay. And then I'm going to take this a step further and say, what would you do to improve these even further based on proven practices that increase conversion for remarketing ads? Okay. Let's see if we get any refinements that we really are even happier with. The nice thing about doing this at the start of a sequence of prompts, because I know I'm about to do more prompts, is that I kind of find that it actually will sort of like engage it in a little deeper way, a little deeper thinking process. And now when I do my subsequent prompts, they're going to be higher quality. So it's actually a great way to sort of, wake it up to exactly what you're trying to accomplish. Speak to their internal monologue. They visited the page but didn't book. Now, what it's done here, because I'm telling it to go out and find proven high converting tactics for remarketing, is it's gone out and searched the web, right? It's found some things out there that people have talked about, and now it's incorporating that, which I think is awesome. This would be hard for any of us to do, I think. Only 12 seats left this weekend. I'm not really going to update a remarketing ad that quickly and have it be out there. So, I mean, think logically about these. It's not going to give you every time like, oh, that's perfect. Some of these you're going to skip. But again, a great idea generator. Using social proof as a hook. Over 2,000 5-star reviews, can't be wrong. We'll do some of these here just coming up. Voted Moab's best adventure 21 years straight. It's great for social proof. Make the CTA feel effortless. Check availability is great. I might, that's a good A/B test for like book now. A lot of us will put book now on the button. A/B test, check availability versus book now. We've done that with a lot of clients on the Resmark website. We see different results based on different companies. So sometimes that feels like an easier entry point. Like, oh, I'm not committing, I'm just checking availability. But ultimately, you're going to the same place. You're starting a booking. See dates and times, start planning, pick your raft. Those are great. Okay, I like that. Now, let's try something here. If we were to say, actually, we'll do that. We're going to do the landing page at the end of this. Let's do a couple more so you can get an idea of, some of these other prompts and how they work. So I'm going to do the next one. This is a testimonial-based prompt, which given our project and what we have in here with all the reviews, this one is awesome. So what I'm asking it to do is to choose a short guest review or snippet of a review. That's the key. I don't want a full-blown review here because I got very limited space in these little display ads. So ensure the reviews chosen have address the most common hesitations and concerns that our potential customers have. Write 6 pattern ads variations. I want 3 of them that quote the testimonial directly. Ensure that it's under 40 characters. That length is a key length just to usually get you within a really nice amount of space to have a big header. And some that paraphrase it. So let's see what it does. Now, these are pretty generic. Again, think in context of what it is you're doing. If you're building remarketing ads for your rock climbing page, then the people that visited that page, then obviously plug that into this because you want them to be very specific to that. I want testimonials about that activity. I don't want just generic ones. These could be, well, the way I did this could be people that visited the homepage and then didn't go any further because I don't really know what they're interested in. So they're going to be a little more generic. Best trip we've ever taken. Safe, fun, and unforgettable. Worth every single penny. Love that. Because a common concern for us, because we're one of the higher priced options in our region, is pricing. So let the guests say that rather than us. That's an amazing way to overcome that. Family favorite in Moab, best day in Moab, safe scene. I don't know. Personally, I like these testimonial based ones better. I might actually tell it to give me 5 more of those to work with. But that's awesome. Just pulling the name with it is helpful. I don't feel like I'm totally making this up because it's actually grabbing it from, here's a little snippet from Bridget M. And she actually said this. And then I might take that and put 5 stars over the top of it, put her, a little review snippet and a great image, call to action on there, and we've, developed something that's going to be really effective. Objection-based prompts are the next one here. Let's grab this and plug it in. This one I think is really powerful because these people didn't book, right? They left the page for some reason, and we can probably guess that it was because of one of these common objections. So what can we do to overcome that in these ads? Maybe we didn't overcome it well enough. They didn't scroll down to the part of the page where we tried to overcome it in our reviews or things that we've talked about in previous sessions, because we're doing that on the page. We should be. But maybe they didn't get that far. And so they got distracted, something happened, whatever. They didn't do it. Okay, and if at any time, like, I don't know if I love these, I can go back to that initial prompt and say, I might actually have it remind me, because it didn't really, I'm going to say, what are the top hesitations and concerns that our ideal customer has? Okay, so we've got price sensitivity. We've talked about that. Experience fit. Is this really right for me? Logistics anxiety. Will this be a hassle? Again, I'm kind of waking it up here to go back and look at this. Remember, we probably don't want to say the word safe in our advertising unless it's maybe being quoted by someone who said they felt safe. Will I miss out if I wait? It's going to give me a little table here. So now I might take this and have it regenerate that again and just say, okay, these are great. How would I create ads? How could we create ads to address these concerns? And see if we get anything better. Let's just do it really quick. Let's try creating 5 more ad variations that address these common concerns. And I'm going to actually remind it that we're doing 5 more remarketing ad variations. We even put in here Google. Okay, I'm getting a little better quality, I think, here, although that looks like what I got before. We handle the details, I like that. Dates are filling fast. Again, you could take something like this and really just knowing what some of these are, you may have some things. I mean, if you're on the phone with people sometimes, or you're going through this stuff, like, I mean, you're gonna be like, okay, I like that. I get, you reminded me of what some of our common objections are. I've got good things we say all the time that really resonate with people. So if it's not nailing it, you can kind of take that and step in a little bit. All right, let's try a family one here. And then we may jump down and try our landing page exercise. And then we're going to move into some Google. Some sponsored ad. Oops, I didn't put in the tour name. I think it's picking up what I was doing before, which was rafting. But that's fine. Remember when you paste that one to stick your, replace the tour name in it. Let me bold it for you so you see it jump out. Okay, from screens to screams of joy. Reclaim family time. That was a suggestion in the actual prompt. I love that one. Or maybe later into best day ever. These are good. And I might say, you know, give me 5 more variations and continue down that route. A couple of those are really strong. Okay. If you have deals that you're offering, discounts, things like that, you could plug in something like this. Kind of, if you're doing something seasonal, book before April 30th and get, a certain deal, you can plug that into your advertising. Bring people back. Let them remember that there's a special if they act quick. And then just obviously put something in the calendar so you take that ad out. Replace it with something else afterwards as you're no longer offering that promotion. Cart abandonment, I think, is a huge one and often overlooked. If you can track this, that you have these users who made it to this point and did not book, you can say something really specific to them. So I think this is a great one to generate. Oops, I forgot the tour name again. It's probably just going to pick up what we were doing before, but bold that so you see it. Still planning. Your trip awaits, almost there. But again, you're speaking to those people and you're speaking to them a little bit differently than you would someone who maybe just visited a page. So I think that's great. We'll skip the micro story prompt. I think these can be great too, again, because you have all the reviews in there. We did some of these in our experience. We got some really fun ads out of them. I'll jump here for the sake of time down to the last one, which is a seasonal prompt. I think these are really powerful. We can think about these ads in different ways, right? We can think in terms of time. We can think in terms of demographic. We can think in terms of like geographic location of our customers, and we can combine those together. And that's what this does. It basically says, okay, I know that people in this part of the country are currently in winter. It's near the end of winter. They're probably tired of it. They're probably thinking of getting away from it. So how do I build on what I know is in their minds right now? And that's what this one does. So if I wanted to take this, we'll replace the tour name this time here. And we'll just continue to play on this Colorado River for our Colorado River trip. Ba-bum. This is another one where you want to think about timing, right? You can run these just for a period, because if you keep running them in the summer, probably not going to resonate and you're going to look kind of silly. So, make sure you're paying attention to that and making that change at the right time. Escape the cold, trade snow for sun, tired of freezing. I don't know if I love any of those. Let's push it a little bit further. Actually, let's do something. There's something that, let's consider the before and after state further. Would you? Okay, so I'm wanting you to think about something in my prompt, which was consider the before state, consider the after state. From frostbite to sunlight. Okay, that's fun. Shovel snow or splash rapids, ditch the layers, gray skies, not here. I like that one. Thaw your spirit. So you could keep pushing this a little bit further and get some of these that resonate, but you get the idea with that. So what I want to do is take this and develop a landing page. And I will plug this in here. I thought I actually had my landing page prompt. Let me go down to the bottom. No, we don't. Okay. So as we've been developing these, I'm just going to ask it to tell me, let's say, if we were to design a landing page for our family ad that we've ideas that we created. page most effective in terms of engagement and conversion. So I'm going to ask it before I actually create this. I'm going to do two things, and this is a really good way to utilize AI. I could have just said, give me a landing page, give me landing page content for this, and it would do an okay job. But I want you to see what happens when you do it this way. So first, we're asking it to think about this, like create a blueprint, basically. So it's giving me these different sections. And then what I'm actually going to ask ChatGPT to do after this is I'm going to tell it to create a prompt that would generate an effective landing page using these principles. And I'm going to let it generate its own prompt, and then I'm going to run that prompt. So let's let it finish this. Pro conversion tips. Excellent. That would be cool to do that. Says it could give me a Figma layout mockup or a copy layout wireframe. But what I want to do is say, can you generate a prompt that would create copy for a high converting landing page using these principles? Okay. And again, I'm inside the project here, which is kind of cool because it's going to utilize some of what it's going to build upon all of this stuff for I'll do a customer profile, right? And it's doing that here. It knows that, it even knows the minimum age of my trip, which I didn't have to feed it. It's 5, right? And so it's saying, okay, children are 5 to 18. It has all this additional context because of the way we're doing this, which I think is really powerful. This is a pretty long prompt, but let's try. Okay. Actually, you don't really have to copy it because it will often do this. It will say, would you like me to run this prompt? And I'll just say yes. Now, in this case, I might already have a really fantastic Colorado River full day rafting trip page. But it might be a little bit generic. It might not be specifically for families. So I could take this and create something as a landing page. And like, honestly, I wouldn't be doing this. We have a lot of ad variations that we run. We don't have a landing page for every single one of them. But if you get one that, like, your audience is pretty big, and it's one of these specialized audiences that's like really specific, and you don't have the perfect page for it, it's worth creating a page because you're just going to get that traffic driving that page and it's going to convert better. If you got like a small audience and it's like, it's pretty, like our current page is a pretty good fit for it, you don't necessarily have to design a landing page for everyone because it's, we all have limited bandwidth, right? And time and resources to do this. But if you're working with Resmark Web and you want to get into this, for some of the ad, if you're doing our paid ads plan where we're managing all of that for you, and you want to make some of that more effective, that team, our team can put together very cost effectively can put together landing pages for you that will really help your ads become even more effective. So, okay, I've got a hero section. Now it's working into some of these, the before and after, the cold stuff, whatever. I didn't really intend for it to do that, but because of where I plugged in this thing right after that, it built that into it. Why families choose us. So specific for families, again, using everything in our project to pull that together, what your family's day looks like, love it. What other parents say, like that's gonna speak to the people looking at this page. My general page is not gonna say that. I would never say what other parents say on my main Colorado River rafting page, because like they're not all parents, right? So, but this time I know they are because of the ad that they clicked on and because of the page that they visited before. So Pretty cool. So you can utilize that method to create landing page copy for your ads that are generating, more clicks and have bigger audiences. All right. That's part one, everybody. Part 1 and 2, I guess, with the landing page. So we're going to move into the last part now, which is Google search ad prompts. So I'm guessing and I'm going to open up a new chat because we're going to just start this kind of new, and I don't want to get overshadowed by the remarketing ads that were more display ads. Now we're talking text-based ads, right? These are what Google calls responsive search ads. So those of you who are familiar with this, it's referred to as RSA, or responsive search ads. Google used to have you write the title that you wanted to display and the meta description that you wanted to display, kind of like your organic results, would come in. But now they are mixing and matching little snippets together and determining, using their algorithms, which ones will produce the highest conversions, because that's their goal, is to get you more clicks, gets them more money, gets you more clicks, everybody wins. And so that's why they developed this new process, right? So this is a little bit different than writing a complete headline. I'm going to have it write these little snippets, and then I'm going to have it write longer descriptions, and it mixes and matches these things. So if you're sitting there looking at this, if you're doing it yourself, and you are, sitting there looking at a blank slate going, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to come up with this many little snippets and variations? You just start writing things down. This can take that, like I said early on, from where you are today to increasing those 20, 30% or more in terms of the conversion you're getting. So let's run through it. These are built into different things, different sections, just like our other ads. But with this, we can actually take these and we can combine them together, because Google will do that work for you. So I'm just going to stick on sort of the same thing we're doing with our Moab rafting. But let's take this first prompt. You take something that you think is a really popular keyword for you, change this right here. This is one of our big ones right here. So I'm going to plug that in. And let's see what we get. Searching my project files always makes me happy when I see that. I know it's looking at all the stuff we wanted to look at. 5 Google search ad headlines and 3 descriptions. Moab's top rafting trips, book Moab rafting now, thrilling scenic safe. Again, I'd not be plugging the safe word in there. Family rafting in Moab, guided river fun awaits. Okay, I like this one. So let's try what we did, because we're about to do a series of these. So I'm going to actually take this and I'm going to push it a little bit. I'm going to say, do each of these meet all the Google ad RSA requirements? Okay, because I want it to go out and do a little research, look through the guidelines and requirements before I start into all of these. And it's checking some boxes. Is it 30 characters or fewer? Include at least some keywords. So it's checking all of these things. So a couple of these things that did not have our full keyword in there that we were targeting, and that's, not great. So again, having it cross-check itself is a good thing, and now it's going to redo. It's looking at descriptions. Again, it missed some of that in the descriptions. They allow up to 15 headlines, 4 descriptions. So what we're going to do in this whole exercise is come up with what those 15 are, what the 4 descriptions are. And then we can feed those in and have them all wrap around our campaign for Moab rafting, and it's going to become far more effective. All right, but I'm going to ask it 2 more questions. Plug this in here. How would you improve these to ensure that every phrase resonates with our ideal customer? Fantastic. Now we're shifting from compliance to conversion optimization, which means aligning every word. Yes, it does. So we're going to plug that in. Again, it's going to look back, ideal customer insights, tone that resonates, is conversational, emotionally charged, clear call to action. it still forgot to put in our keyword phrases a couple of times. So I'm going to remind it of that. Okay, so you're probably getting similar results as you go through this, but again, based around your company, your ideal customer profile. And I could have it do this right now, but I actually want to go through some of these other prompts. So let's ask it this question. I'm going to push it a little further. And because I noticed it didn't contain the keyword, you saw like when we did that right at the beginning, it said, do they contain, the keyword? That's a best practice, right? Because it'll help resonate. And you don't necessarily have to have everyone because it is going to combine, it's going to mix and match, right? So you're going to have one with the keyword, one without, and so forth. So it is okay to have some of those mixed in there, knowing that it's pairing things. Okay, so this is asking it to go out and do a little bit of research. Okay, I like it. So it's getting a little bit more technical here, which is kind of awesome too. Dynamically inserting search terms, which is a great way to overcome kind of what we were just talking about, and an easier way to go through it. There's a lot of complexity to this. Obviously, if you get really deep, you get really good at it. Again, if you're just like, I don't even want to think about this, like there is a service, Resmark Web has one, and you can certainly, let the experts handle that and really help improve your conversion and performance. But I also think it's important, even if you're ever paying a service to do anything for you, I've always kind of felt like it's important that you understand what's going on, like how that works fundamentally, what the principles are, because then you can ask the right questions, you can evaluate things yourself, you're just a little more intelligent about it, you don't get taken advantage of. And that's all really important whenever you're using anyone for any service for your business. Not that you have to be a full expert at it, but just be familiar with it. Here's that prompt I was looking for. I'm going to just scoot that back up here that's where you want to put it. Okay. All right, so now I've done this, and now I want to actually move into this next one. So this is trust building prompt. We're going to plug this in here, and we're going to replace this again with whatever keyword you are playing with right now. And you would repeat this exercise, right? Obviously, I have not just one keyword for my website. I have, tons. Whichever ones you're focused on, probably one that's like a heavy hitter for each one of your particular offerings that you have. You're going to go through this exercise for each one of those to come up with these things. So these are very different than what I just got the first time around, right? Now I'm getting rafting since 1961, 5-star rated, expert rafting guys, trusted by 250,000 guests, award winning. So those are great to pair with the other emotionally driven ones, right? Let's try the next one. This is a unique offer prompt with our mechanism. Now I'm going to see if it goes through and understands what this is. I'm going to give it a very specific, I'm going to give it Colorado River full day rafting trip. See if and insert the target phrase of Moab rafting. Let's see what it'll do here. I've got some things in mind. That's what I had in mind, the barbecue lunch, right? It knew that because I have my product information is stored in my project files. So it can go figure that out. Raft plus Riverside Barbecue, that's kind of our unique differentiator that we use. It's a really concrete mechanism like it's talking about here. All day fun on the river, yeah, pretty generic, but I like some of these that are really specific, right? So then you can take the next one here, which is a value proposition, ideal customer prompt. And we're going to insert our keyword again. I like this, it's saying write copy that reflects what they care about most, not just what we offer. So that last one was more about what we offer, right? And the idea is you're combining these things. You combine this, Riverside barbecue lunch that's part of a unique offering, but now we're going to get at exactly what it is that we offer. Guides that feel like friends. I came up with guides that feel like family before, which I loved. Adventure without the stress. Your river story starts here. Escape, connect, feel alive. These are some of those values that were there. And I can take these and experiment with them, plugging them in. I might take, a couple from each of these categories, put those together into my RSA feed that I'm creating here, and then I'm basically hitting at all of these different angles psychologically in terms of what makes us purchase. I'm going to skip this one. If you have multiple locations that you operate in, I might use this for our Western River brand because we operate in various states, and so I could plug that in there. You could have something for scarcity, which you could plug in and do that as well. I'll let you kind of do that on your own. You get the idea of what we're doing here. I actually want to jump into another thread here and show you a little bit of what I did after we created some ads. The most recent release of Google Images has gotten really impressive. So we took an ad that our designer internally had put together. His name's Cam. He put this ad together. He does a great job with pulling in our branding and everything and some of our imagery. Utilize some of the content. You saw this, more of a tour than a transformation. And we had kind of traditionally done, if you remember from the beginning, some of those little lines down on the bottom, right? And I basically said, act as an expert designer and marketer. How would you improve this display ad for Google remarketing? And it's pointing out some of the good things, and then it's pointing out some issues with our hierarchy and contrast, image composition, logo use, call to action. It's making some copy suggestions. And then I said, yes, go ahead and create me a mock-up. And this is what it actually came up with. It changed the person's face a little bit, but pretty unreal, right? Like, that is not totally our logo, but if I, were a designer and what he did is he took this and then he basically recrafted our ad a little bit. But I think if you compare this to that, granted it's a little bigger, so it's popping out at you more, but the colors pop a little bit better. It reads easier, and it's pretty incredible. So coming down, I said, okay, let's try this one. This was an ad that he had come up with. What would we do? Again, it went through the whole thing, hierarchy of messaging, the CTA button. It would use a button instead, message improvements, remarketing strategy enhancements, and it came up with this. Again, our logo is a little wonky, but it's even handling, it's not quite our font, but it's handling it pretty well. I could take that back in, make some updates. Pretty amazing. Reclaim family time. So this one is interesting. It first had an issue, well, it has a policy issue with actually regenerating images of children. So it wouldn't do that. So I had to argue with it a little bit, and then it ended up creating a bunch of adults on the raft, and it started cutting off some some of whatever, but it's still a pretty impressive image. I mean, it used to be generating raft images with paddles coming out of people's ears and stuff. It was just really crazy. So this is a huge improvement, big step in the right direction. Then I did a little experiment. I said, could we make this ad appeal to an Asian audience? So let's say you're marketing in a different part of the world. Do I want to use a raft full of a bunch of white people? It's not going to resonate with them, right? And be like, oh, it's just a bunch of Americans, doing their thing. And could I do something different? So it told me it couldn't. And then I asked it to, it said it could do something that would resonate with Asian audiences, and it created this, which again is pretty impressive, right? So again, our logo is a little bit wonky, but I could take that and fix it, and I could, even just take this portion of an image and kind of overlay some things and utilize that. So Then I asked for just the image. I said, well, that's great, but it's kind of screwed up some stuff. So I said, can it strip the text, logo, and button from this last and provide an image without these elements? And boom, there I have something I can actually work with, that I could target this group. Occasionally we will get some of these people, but it's like one person in the raft. But to have a full, what looks like a family in the raft is pretty powerful. I could take this now and utilize it in my marketing in different parts of the world. So pretty amazing what we're able to do now with this. So I think one thing just a takeaway here as we wrap up this section is if you can provide some of your own imagery. I think that's why I ended up getting pretty good results here is I provided a starting point. It had my logo, it had my fonts, even if you've done a very mediocre job at putting that stuff together, you want your brand represented. Now it has some things to work with. I did experiment with some things. Maybe in the future this will change, but I tried to have it just go out and review our website for, all the brand elements. And that didn't work very well. It said it couldn't. So I think even if you supplied the parts, I didn't try this because I was giving it real ads and saying, how do you improve this? But if you were to even take, I want an ad with this heading, I would like you to use this logo, drop in your logo file, this picture, give it a picture, and this call to action, you can pull those all from what we just generated and actually craft an image with that. I think you might get some pretty impressive results. It's going to change the picture, at least the way it works now. I mean, this one was pretty dang close, but the people changed a little bit, right? But there's still two people standing under that same arch, and that's pretty impressive. So if you want it to not look, you don't want you ideally want to base this on an image you already have, right? Rather than just totally crafting something that's not even from your location or your whatever. What I was really impressed with is that it actually got right down to the life jackets. I mean, if I zoom into this, you can see some of the detail, the red and blue, and how they're put together. Those are pretty spot on, which is really impressive that it was to be able to pull that kind of detail together. And that's just going to get better. So hopefully that gives you some idea of how to use these principles as you go and begin to craft ads that are far more effective in your own business. So before we totally wrap up and close this out, Nikki, do we have any other questions or comments?
No, everybody, please drop some questions. A lot of great feedback though. So that's wonderful. Feel free to unmute or drop a question if you have it. We have a couple minutes left. And as you guys do that, I just wanted to say real quick, thank you again for joining us through these, 5 sessions. So the replay links will be available on the link that I sent, and I'll send it again for you guys for registering. I'm going to gate the content, so you could find it on our website, but you might have to fill out a form and whatnot. So make sure you save this link that I'm sending you. This is specific to you guys for registering. So I'm gonna, just so you guys can go in and watch the replays whenever you feel like it and don't have to sign up for anything. I'll send this back.
Awesome. Well, if we don't have any other comments, you got a couple seconds here if there's anything that comes through, but just a quick summary of everything we've covered to this point in all the sessions. So again, if you missed any of these, go back, check them out. They each cover similar principles, but different prompts. Every one of these has a prompt sheet that accompanies it, which you're welcome to use if you register for these sessions. You can come back and look at them. Those that have joined us obviously already have access to those, but the ideal customer profile, again, goes through uploading all kinds of important files, using those for analysis to come up with the type of messaging that we should really be using in everything that we did in part 2, part 3, part 4, and part 5. And you should end up with a higher converting website, better blogs, more effective marketing, and more powerful ads for both, your remarketing and your Google sponsored ads. Again, anytime along the way, if you're understanding these principles, you're getting excited about it, but you just don't have the bandwidth to do it, jump over to Resmark Web, check out the services that we have to offer. We love to help other tour companies become more successful with all of this, whether it's you need help with your website, you want help with SEO, you want help with paid ads, or you want all of that. We're happy to offer that. There's also, we have booking solutions and platforms that can be used independent of this. You don't have to do a website with us to use the booking platform, and vice versa. You can use the booking platform without the website. We also have digital liability waivers, and all of that really feeds together to build this very robust and effective platform for you to become more successful than you ever have. So that's our mission, and we hope to help you get there and be part of the journey, be part of your journey as we do this together.